This is Pop Culture Confidential, and I'm Christina Yerling Biru. The wait is finally over. After a long and rich award season, one filled with genuinely great cinema, the Oscars are this Sunday, and it's time to make our predictions. For me personally, this has been one of the more exciting years in recent memories, with several categories remaining beautifully unsolved. Joining me to figure it all out is one of the sharpest minds in film and awards, editor-in-chief of Awardswatch, Erik Anderson. Welcome, Erik.
I don't know how much a sharp mind is going to help with some of these races, which is kind of great.
I love it. I'm so excited. It's actually been so interesting this year. And we've been following this together since Cannes, really.
Very much so. It's this last can is probably the most abundant I think that I have seen in any like Oscar season as a early festival. Cannes always like a big part of it, and we always look, to international films there and where those might show up in a couple of places. But that's this year, they're everywhere. And it is all mostly neon. In fact, it is, I think, all neon
All of them were
really,
neon.
outside of the voice of him Rajab. But it's I love it. I'm so glad that we went. I'm so glad I went after uh not going to Cannes for so long, because missing out on all of those incredible films that early would have been sad.
Well, we did, and I mean, just to give some numbers before we get started. Of course, Sinners has 16. It's a historic number, 16 nominations, the most in Oscar 98 history. 13 for One Battle After Another, and 9 for Sentimental Value and Marty Supreme. Neon, you were mentioning, they have 18 nominations, but Warner Bros. With everything going on, 30 nominations.
I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches for Warner Brothers this season, uh, because you have these 16 for Sinners and 13 for One Battle, and then of course Aunt Gladys also is in that fold, and it's pretty rare. But Warner Brothers had also just an extraordinary box office year in 2025. And then, they kind
And
of threw it
yet.
all away by selling it to Paramount because they're idiots.
Oh, that's another time, another show,
My
Erik.
goodness. Whole nother conversation.
Conan, of course, coming back from a second year. We're looking forward to that. But we're here for predictions. And I actually want to get you started before we get into the shorts and everything. But I want to start with the new one. Why don't we start with best casting? Because this is our
Yeah.
best. This is the new one for the year. Um,
Yes.
the nominees are Hamnet, Nina Gold, Marty Supreme, Jennifer Venditti, One Battle After Another, Cassandra Kulukundis, The Secret Agent, Gabrielle Dominguez, Sinners, Francine Maisler. Talk about how are they going to do this? What are they looking for?
Well, this was, definitely as a new category. Uh, it was announced 2 years ago, and it takes that much time to kind of figure out the parameters of it, of how the voting is going to go, if there's a short list, how the short list works. And just like, we're going to have a stunt category in the year after next, once that is all figured out too. So in the early kind of stages of this, we were kind of all looking at, this is a branch. It is an actual branch, because every every category has its own branch, except for stunts. So you start looking at names, I think, before really kind of anything, and names like Francine Maisler and Nina Gold and Jennifer Venditti,
Legends in the field.
absolute legends. There were, and plenty more that did not make the cut here, and not just for the films that they're nominated for, but they usually, as most casting directors do, they'll have three or four or more really big films. So I think what we were kind of trying to figure out early on is, would this look like the sound categories or the visual effects categories, where you'll see the same person receive more than one nomination because the branch is going to vote on a film, but they're voting on for a person as well. And the big surprise with the nominations was that nobody got to. It was a really big shock. So that kind of gave an idea of where the branch was going to go. But then they gave us The Secret Agent,
I
which
love
was
that.
such a great nomination and also
And that they're
shows,
looking at, yeah, because they're looking at the amateurs in the film, and
yes,
yeah,
yeah. And they're looking at it from a very academy and a very international perspective in a way that the Screen Actors Guild absolutely rebuked this year with, no
no,
international representation at all. And the academy has really changed in that regard. So that's why we have The Secret Agent here. I think a lot of folks were expecting Sentimental Value to be an international contender here. Um, Partly because there is at least one American actress in it, but Avi Kaufman, also a legend, as one of the casting directors. But now that we have these nominations, it's sort of now in everyone's hands, like with every other category. So we have to look at it sort of like the SAG Cast Award. How are people at large going to view this category? Because there's already Best Picture here, so it's not really that. And are they looking as a whole to sort of award the cast, even though this is a casting directors award? I mean, I think a lot of people will be. They're going to look at the large cast of Sinners and be like, "That's an easy vote for me. I'm voting for that giant ensemble." And they're going to look at Marty Supreme and go, "There's such a cool combination of veteran actors, first time actors, and total non actors here." That's
the
a
entire New York sort of
exactly
artistic
that's a
community.
that's a vote right there. So it's a wonderfully representative category because Hamnet has kids, which is also one of the toughest casting choices. And then Secret Agent, like we mentioned, has like 24 tiny bit roles that are so important.
So what do you say?
I'm saying Sinners. It feels like a pretty pretty easy pick. Um, yeah, yeah.
I'm saying Sinners too. I think that, yeah, I think also just this, as you mentioned, this big cast and such an eclectic cast, and in putting together some musical. Francina's worked a lot in television, and you kind of feel that she's good at putting the ensemble together in this way. So yeah, well, I'm looking at Sinners too. Let's
Yeah, and
move
there's
on to, oh, good.
I was just gonna say there's the other wonderful aspect is between like Sinners and One Battle, each of them have a cast member in Miles Caton and Chase Infinity as a feature film debut performance that is a centerpiece performance for the film. Again, that is a casting director really locking something down.
Yeah, both of those, the finds of the year. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
imagine their careers going forward, and so very much so. So let's do the shorts before we get there. Let's do best live action short. Here we have Butcher Stain, A Friend of Dorothy, Jane Austen's period drama, The Singers, and Two People Exchanging Saliva.
This is a really good group, I have to say. It is incredibly eclectic. I think a lot of times, and certainly the documentaries reflect this a little more, but a lot of times you'll have uh, a category very, very filled with very serious drama. And there's really kind of just one here with Butcher Stain, which I think could be an advantage to it versus, Jane Austen period drama, which is absolutely spoof hilarious. Friend of Dorothy
Did
is
not work for me, I'm afraid. The
which
period
one?
drama.
Jane
Jane
Austen?
Austen, yeah. I don't know,
You
I just
know,
found it.
I really liked it, and some of the names were really funny. I just wasn't sure if it like kind of went far because once they introduced the sister saying fuck, it's like,
Yeah.
all right, all bets are really kind of off the table of what you can do. And it felt a little reserved, but at 12 minutes or whatever, it was pretty good. Friend of Dorothy, very sweet, extremely sentimental.
Miriam
I
Margolyth's wonderful actress.
she is lovely. Um, I really like two people exchanging saliva, but it also did feel a little bit like Almodovar light.
Or Yorgos.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
those comparisons, but I did not see that as
It
much
didn't.
as Almodovar. But it's also like 37 minutes long. That's that can be a detriment sometimes to some of these brisker uh little stories to kind of get through, which is why I think the singers at 17 minutes and mining both comedy and drama really fits a great bill here.
Singers is great. It really, and it goes, as you mentioned, humor, but also so emotional at the end. I was really shedding a few tears. This is Netflix. I think many people have seen it. I'm very much between Singers and two people exchanging saliva, wondering if they'll vote for something that feels Almodovar Yorgos deep,
Mm-hmm.
this dystopian world that we're living in. Thinking of whatever we're going through today, or if we go with the Singers, which is more emotional and humanistic, really, about people coming together over music, kind of things. I'm going with the Singers.
Yeah, I am as well. And Sam Davis, the director, was nominated just a couple of years ago in documentary short for 99 WIPO. And he's a young filmmaker, but these short categories find themselves with winners for filmmakers, not maybe at the beginning of the career, because he's been doing this for like 10 years, but certainly at the beginning of a career of visibility that kind of brings them up to the surface for an entirely different career.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing where he's going. Best documentary short. So I watched these all in one fell swoop, and I had to go and lie
Jeez.
down.
Yeah.
This was the most emotional package of films, short documentaries or short films I had seen pretty much ever. They're really tough, several of them really good. But hard to get through. All the Empty Rooms, which is basically a movie about a reporter who's reporting on, or he's doing sort of a project on rooms left by let parents after their children have been murdered in school shootings, that are left intact, and he visits them armed with only a camera, the life and death of Brett Renault, Children No More, The Devil is Busy, and Perfectly a Strangeness, which is kind of the odd man out in this group, I'd
Mm-hmm.
say, about that movie. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about your feelings.
Well, I mean, like I said, this is really the category where you're not going to find a lighthearted option exactly. Um, they are hard hitting, uh, topical, sad, all of the things. And there's I think there is in terms of what's going to be seen the most and where I think people might want to gravitate to. I think any of them have a pretty good shot.
Yeah, but
And if you're
Netflix,
just
HBO, yeah.
exactly, yeah, you've got some great distributors behind them. And if you're sort of just looking at the log line of something, like, the devil is busy being about being able to get safe abortions and the workers there being able to be safe. And like you mentioned, all the empty rooms about a journalist that's doing a story on the post shootings. There's something about this, though, that is one of my favorite things about a documentary. And that's when a filmmaker goes in with sort of a purpose, one purpose, and through the process, sort of unveils or reveals something else. And it was really about his own, I don't want to say like participation, but sort of, uh, which he admits right at the beginning, uh, in the the telling of all of these school shooting stories, and where he, not where his responsibility lies, but sort of where he exists in these stories. And it really kind of,
And sorry, the focus always on the murderers as a
yeah,
reporter. And this
yeah,
was
yeah,
something else.
it was, I think that is a hook as a film, and certainly a documentary, that is incredibly compelling, even outside of whatever the subject is. But I also just think that it's a subject that will be uh, very moving.
Yeah, so that's what
I
you're
am
predicting.
predicting
Yeah,
that, but
me too.
I think it's a, I don't want to say wide open, but probably. I think The Devil is Busy absolutely has. Yeah, I think almost any of them do, really.
The Devil is Busy is also Geeta Ghanbir, who's
Yeah.
nominated for Perfect Neighbor and the documentary as
Yes.
well. So people will be thinking about that. I think All the Empty Rooms, kind of by a mile. I feel like I think that that's feels incredibly powerful and very much of the moment. And as you say, such a very calm and emotional piece of storytelling in a perspective we
Yeah.
haven't seen before. All right, best
Yeah.
animated short. This I never get this right, Eric, but we'll try.
Yeah.
Butterfly Forever Green, The Girl Who Cried Pearls, which has some big names behind it, Julianne Moore and Isabelle Huber as producers. Retirement Plan and The Three Sisters.
Uh, I mean, so I only missed The Three Sisters. It's playing in the theater with all of the shorts, but I had seen like everything else already. So I wonder if that, being the outlier is like, oh, okay, well, if I miss this, then it's going to be the one that I didn't see. Um, Another very eclectic group. Some, Forever Green is very childish.
Yeah, that's the.
It's like it's like a Pixar short that was kind of knocked around in the workroom, but wouldn't really actually make it to the end. No offense to Nathan Engelhart and Jeremy Spears. It's nice, it's lovely, it's cute. Um, Maybe a little too cutesy though. Um, I think The Girl Who Cried Pearls is good, but feels like they've rewarded this type and style a bit already. Although, I mean, I think I have it at number two. I think it's, it's going to have a visibility, from its executive producers. So Butterfly or Retirement Plan, I think probably have a better shot. I've picked Retirement Plan. It is very short. It's like 7 minutes
7 minutes,
long.
yeah.
Um, but boy, is it absolutely packed with incredible pathos, very funny. It's extremely New Yorker. It just looks like a New Yorker cartoon. Um, I thought it was lovely.
I loved it. Domhnall Gleeson narrating.
Yeah,
Butterfly is the serious one, very
yeah,
beautifully. I feels hand drawn. I'm not sure about the
yeah,
animation,
like
but yeah,
watercolors and
watercolors. And
yeah,
it's a Holocaust story,
yeah,
and uh, I think it's between. I kind of feel like it's between Butterfly and Retirement Plan. Like either they'll go in
probably.
that direction, the very sort of more artsy, heavy, which they do quite a bit, or they'll just like the light, funny Retirement Plan, which is my favorite of the bunch.
Yeah, and with all of these categories, you kind of have to. It's an absolute guessing game of how many people are going to watch them all and vote because we're if you pay attention to any of the anonymous ballots, which
We don't.
as I have mentioned many times, I think people attach themselves to it way too much and they're cherry picked and they really are going after kind of the worst voters who say the worst things. Um, so you're going to get a lot of people that are not going to watch these or not watch them all. And there is the new quote unquote rule that you have to watch an entire category's worth of films before you can vote on it. But that's just a click of a button and you can,
Yeah, how can they
lie.
enforce that? I mean,
You,
that's
you
not.
can't, you can't really enforce it because you can watch any of these outside of the Academy platform. Um, but so with that kind of thinking, uh, 10,000 people are not going to be voting on these shorts. It's going to be a much more limited number of people. And the threshold to win and get the most votes is going to be much lower. So, I mean, even if you looked at the documentary branch as a whole, which I think is like 700 people, I doubt 700 doc branch voters are all going to vote either. So it just, I don't know. It's I think I think we'll get I think we'll get winners that have a bit of at least diversity within the top of them.
It makes me think that it may be Butterfly then. After
Mm-hmm.
you're saying that the people voting here are the ones who are actually very specialized in animated show. I mean, they are looking at the craft behind it more than
Yeah.
maybe the humor. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I'm
that
still
would
going
make
to
a
go
lot
for
of
it.
sense.
All right, let's move on to best sound. F1, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Sirat. I seem to be hearing F1 is the one to beat here.
Well, this weekend, and it's why I waited to do my predictions until today for that because I wanted to look at where things were going to shake out because we had the Cinema Audio Society and the motion picture sound editors, and together those were four categories with four potential winners there. And not too surprisingly, F1 won Cinema Audio Society and then lost its two bids for MPSE, and Sinners won two of them. But not like, I hate to say it like this, but like the one that matters, the one that has the most correlation, Frankenstein won. So
All over the
it it
place.
it was a little all over the place, but um
Oh, I think those
barring
cars revving.
yeah, barring some type of sweep for Sinners and what we're I think what we saw this weekend is that from a guild perspective is not happening. So F1 is a pretty easy prediction for me here.
All right, then we move on to visual effects. Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1 again, Jurassic World Rebirth, The Lost Bus, and Sinners. Oh my God, The Lost Bus, the worst movie of the year.
Lost Bus. If oh my goodness, that movie.
Here
It
I'm
just it
going with, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it never went away.
Apparently not.
My goodness.
I am going with Avatar, Fire and Ash based on what it's been winning. And I think you agree.
Yeah, I it's the
Big Jim.
I sort of feel bad uh for any movie that is competitive against an Avatar movie in an Oscar year because it's kind of always going to be defaulted to that. Like always.
How many wins does Joe Lettieri have at this point?
Oh,
I think it's like,
that's a good question.
I think we're up at
Let
like
me
8 or
look.
something.
That would make a lot. Yeah, because he had Lord of the Rings. His five. He has five so far.
5 and like a dozen
Yeah.
nominations to his name. So, yeah, I mean,
Yes. Yeah. And winner for The Way of Water. Yeah. Planet of the Apes. It's mhm. He's a pretty he's pretty locked in.
all right, we're moving through best makeup and hairstyling, Frankenstein, Kokuhu, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsister.
This feels like a pretty easy win for Frankenstein. A, a kind of a big sweeper in this category. It's won BAFTA, Critics' Choice, and in the Makeup and Hairstyling Guild, which also has multiple categories and breaks it down between period, contemporary, and fantasy. Frankenstein won the special effects makeup, as would easily predict. But Sinners did win period makeup and hair. So I think they're while Frankenstein is a pretty clear favorite here. Um, I would put Sinners at number two, or I did put Sinners at number two.
That's the one to watch for, and
Yeah.
if not
Again, in
Frankenstein.
case there is like a big tide shift, which
Hmm.
I think a lot of people want to happen and they kind of thought may happen, but we'll see.
Here's the one I talked to you about before. I really wanted weapons in here, but for Aunt
It's
Gladys, that's my
crazy.
disappointment. I don't didn't quite get that
No, it makes no sense to
omission.
me.
Best costume design: Avatar, Fire and Ash, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, Sinners. I think we're looking at Frankenstein here again, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's what we used to call them, or at least what I remember them being called when I was young, is the coffee table awards. So that would be like costume design, production design, things like that, that were always, lavish period pieces or just tons of fabric that just were everywhere. And they make a really pretty picture. And so that's we used to call them the coffee table awards. But yeah, the BAFTA Critics' Choice uh, Costume Design Guild absolutely just ran the table.
And I'm thinking for me, I'm going for a triple here because I'll have Frankenstein on production design as well, where we also have Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners. Is that the same for you
It
in the
is the
coffee
same,
table trio?
very much so. One BAFTA Critics' Choice, Art Directors Guild, set decorators. Interestingly enough, Sinners was nominated everywhere but did not win anywhere. But One Battle did. One Art Directors and the set decorators special prize of Best Picture. Um, and no, the thing about that is that they're not competing in the same category. One Battle being contemporary, same with costume design. So if you're looking at a lot of races being Sinners versus One Battle, many of them in the precursors leading up, they weren't in direct competition. So it's not quite a, you can't make a one
It's
to
not
one
that
with it.
easy. Hmm.
Yeah.
All right, here's an interesting one, at least traditionally, statistically, film editing. I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts here. F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. How does this correlate historically to Best Picture and what you're feeling this year?
In back in the day, it was a lot more corollary than, let's say, the last like 10 or 15 years. But, a certain number of things kind of always held true. And like in 2005, when Brokeback Mountain, even before the crash of it all, uh, missed nomination here. And if you were really going to stick by stats, a film had not won Best Picture without an editing nomination since Ordinary People, which was 25 years at the
Mm.
time. That's a long time. That was a considerable amount of time in Oscar years. So that was always something that you kind of look to in the future uh, as a potential. So when you get your set of film editing nominations, uh, you kind of make sure that it is connected in some way, not necessarily as like the winner, but as the piece of the puzzle. The way that like Sentimental Value got the editing nomination this year, which just showed its strength over other Best Picture nominees, even though it's not a threat to win Best Picture. That was a show of strength that it had over several other films. But in this case, I am I'm sticking with One Battle. I haven't really deviated from that. It won BAFTA. It won the American Cinema Editors, but again, in a different category than Sinners, because One Battle is in comedy and Sinners is in drama. So it's a little tough in that way, but at BAFTA, all of these films were together and One Battle won. Critics' Choice, they were all together, and F1 won. And there was certainly a case to be made where F1 could have kind of kept going and done what Ford v Ferrari did in 2019 and win both sound and film editing. But I think that's much less likely now.
So, at a certain point on Sunday, if we see either Sinners or One Battle After Another taking something like editing, do you see, okay, this is it's a Sinners night or it's a One Battle?
Yeah, I mean, if film editing is early enough and Sinners were to win, yeah, that would certainly mark that. But we're gonna get, a supporting category first, like we always do. And when we get to those, we'll talk about them. But those are
That's
those are
the
categories where
indicator.
it's like, oh, is this the indicator? Yeah. But oh, for sure. I mean, that's the kind of funny thing about a lot of these categories. And I think, I don't know, maybe depending on if you're One Battle pilled or if you're Sinners pilled. Because if One Battle wins film editing, then things are going at least how I expect them to go. If Sinners does that, that means to me that there was a tide turn in the last uh, week of February.
Yeah, towards Sinners.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. All right, I think we have one coming here when in Best Original Score. Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamlet, One Battle After Another, and Sinners, where I'm predicting Ludwig Göransson to walk away with his third Oscar, unbelievably.
Third in 6 years, and he's 41.
One, yeah,
It's yeah, he's gonna be in some pretty rare territory. And
yeah.
it's there's this is one of the easiest kind of predictions of the night. pretty easy. He hasn't lost anything at all. He's absolutely just dominated and destroyed the competition.
And I mean, the music, that scene in Sinners in particular, I mean, it is just absolutely unbelievable. So, um, it's worth talking about. I have a feeling that if there is a number two, Johnny Greenwood is someone who one would
Definitely.
love to see win in the near future for his incredible body of work. But I also think this is Ludwig Göransson's and possibly his fourth next year when Oppenheimer
I
comes
know
out. It's
it's
insane.
crazy. It's a bit much, but sure.
It's a bit much. All right. Well, we have moving on to original song then, where he's also nominated. But of course, we have Diane Warren for "Dear Me," Golden, K-pop Demon Hunters, I Lied to You, Rafael Sadiq and Ludwig Göransson, Sweet Dreams of Joy from Viva Verdi, the movie no one's seen or had heard of, A Train Dreams, Nick Cave and Bryce Dresner.
Yeah, this
This is a sure thing, of course, Golden, but let's talk about the other ones a bit.
yeah, I think it is, but and this isn't a category that's going to be early enough to kind of do anything because they did also announce that only Golden and I Lied to You will be performed, which I think is really tasteless
That's
and
really mean.
horrible to do that. I wish it was not. I wish it was they would do something. I wish they would do all of them, obviously. But it makes me hope that one of the other three win instead, just to be like a big fu to them for doing that. But yeah, the space between number two and number three is probably really far right now. But uh, I'll say this: uh, the Diane Warren song is a decent song in her latter day oeuvre. And the film is very good. I think if you watch the film and not maybe just listen to the song, th- that could get her a lot of votes because it's a great documentary and it really gives you an insight and an understanding on how she works, not just in her insane mess of an office, but just kind of how she feels about the Oscars, where her very humble beginnings were to become, like the most successful songwriter of all time. It's a it's a it's an interesting story, and I think one that would get a lot of sympathy, but at the same time, yeah, she just never has a song that is the like front
The
runner.
song. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you know what? If she would win, that'd be amazing. I mean, I
it
think
would be.
everyone would be happy for her, even,
It would. She'd get a
you know.
standing ovation. I guarantee it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and Golden is the huge thing, but they've won everything at this point. They're the huge hit.
Yeah,
I think everyone would be fine with Diane Warren. Would I mean, it'd be the story of the night.
yeah, it would be pretty great. But yeah, I
But
mean, Golden really has kind of everything, and even when
yeah,
they're in direct competition with "I Lied to You," but yeah, it's again one of the many categories since Sinners has 16 nominations. Any one of them could be a part of the puzzle to build uh, a larger total. Could be.
I Lied to You is a great song. So, I mean, that's definitely number two. All right, animated feature Arco, Elio, K-pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie or the Character of Rain, and Zootopia 2.
This is
This is a given.
yeah. I mean, one of the easiest kind of big win calls too for K-pop. And if it had opened in the UK and been BAFTA eligible, it would have won there as well.
Oh yeah. Because that's the only one it's really missed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't even
It didn't
shortlisted.
open there.
Yeah. All right. Best documentary feature, The Alabama Solution, Come See Me in the Good Light, Cutting Through Rocks, Mr. Nobody Against Putin, The Perfect Neighbor. This is always a difficult category because these voters kind of always go in another direction. I think The Perfect Neighbor is the one to beat. Gita Gambhir, we mentioned it before, but I have this feeling that Mr. Nobody Against Putin, I mean, they have several films about the Ukraine and conflicts have won in the past 2 or 3 years that to me that seems like it could possibly be a strong contender. What are you thinking?
This is such a weird category this year because what what it took for the perfect neighbor to get here was pretty incredible. Um, the doc branch does not like archival footage documentaries, and all of it is, every single bit of it is. There are no talking heads, it's all the camera footage, whether it's inside the police station or body cams. And they have consistently not nominated these films. So getting past that, huge hump. Being the Critics' Choice winner, huge hump.
Huge.
Overcame that curse too. And then we got the nominations, and some of the films that didn't make it, like Cover Up, Apocalypse in the Tropics, and 2000 Miles from Andrivka, absolute shocks
Shock.
that they
Yeah.
didn't make it in, which just kept removing competition for Perfect Neighbor. Because like 2000 meters won, uh, I think it won not DGA, PGA. I'm gonna get
PJ.
them mixed up, but
Mhm.
yeah, Putin won BAFTA. Perfect Neighbor didn't win any guild. It didn't win PGA. It didn't win DGA. But this is a different category where the building of a guild strength is not as important, and unless you are an absolute kind of steamroller and front runner, and we don't have that this year. So the perfect neighbor being by far the most visible, uh to me makes it a really easy choice.
Mhm. All right. Well, you convinced me. I mean, I think it's an amazing film. And I also think the power of the fact that Gambhir is nominated for two films this
Mm-hmm.
year and it's a
She could win
Netflix
both.
movie. So, yeah, so many people have seen this. It's very talked about. Yeah. All right. International feature. This is interesting. Brazil, The Secret Agent, France, It Was Just an Accident, Norway's Sentimental Value, Spain was Sirat, and Tunisia, The Voice of Hind Rajab. It's really between Norway and Brazil.
Yeah, that's it. That
I'm
is it.
I know the Brazilian contingent is so strong and Secret Agent is a fantastic movie, but I am going to say Sentimental Value on the basis that that you were mentioning before, this tremendous love for the movie, the nine um, nominations,
Yeah.
four just for the actors. It
Yeah.
feels like this is the place. We're going to get to the actor soon, but this is the place where it may get it's what I think one award possibly for the evening.
I'm with you on that. And I wouldn't say that the Brazilian contingent is strong. I think Brazilians are very loud
Yes.
about how they feel about it, and which is great. And
True.
but I'll say this. I think people are a little sort of being a little bit tricked by what happened last year with I'm Still Here, because when that kind of started at the Golden Globes, that group, which are journalists, just always have to remind people that the Golden Globes are 100% their critics, they're journalists. Um, they, increased their membership from 90 to 400. That 300, the largest increase total was Brazilians. I know like 30 of them personally. Um, but last year was a year where Amelia Perez became the villain, So the desire to look for something else to not vote for that became a big part of it. And we don't have that this year. So while I do think that it's definitely between Sentimental Value and The Secret Agent, and each of them got things that the other didn't, like the casting nomination that we mentioned earlier. Sentimental has the editing nomination as well as director. Um, I think the edge has to be for Sentimental here.
They've both run such really nice campaigns too. I mean, Wagner Mora and Stellan and they've been, and Joachim, they've just been everywhere. They seem to be such good friends. They've have given wonderful Q&As. It's been really nice to see them out and about. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think the edge is for sentimental value. All right, best cinematography. Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams. Here we have a potential historic win in Autumn Durald Arkapaw. Tell us about that.
Well, this was another category that I was definitely waiting on because this weekend was the American Society of Cinematographers. And up to this point, before we got into industry and guilds, uh, Arkapaw was the runaway frontrunner and favorite among critics, both uh, the top end regionals, kind of like everywhere, just like almost 40 wins. And then things started actually happening. First was Critics' Choice, which it lost, which is still a mystery to me. Train Dreams won. It's a great win. But if you have 40 different critics groups saying that Sinners has the best cinematography, and then the main group that is a collection of all of those goes with something else, was really odd. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And then as time went on, it emerged that Michael Bauman and his work with Paul Thomas Anderson on One Battle After Another was prevailing. It won the both of the international awards for at BAFTA and the British Society of Cinematographers. So really, Archipaw's last stand was here with ASC, and they have only awarded one woman ever in their 76 years, and this was just 3 years ago. Um, but last night, and their awards last they're very long awards, lots of tributes and lifetime achievements and honorees and all that. So this was at like 10 o'clock Pacific last night, and One Battle won. And I really do feel like that this was, if things were going to change, this is where they would have changed. So now, as with many categories, One Battle's strength has proven itself in the United States guilds and international and everywhere in between. So again, if something were to flip to Sinners at the Oscars, it would mark a very clear voters would be really wanting to say something with
Hmm.
it.
So here's where we'll start seeing those indicators we were talking about before.
Yeah, I mean, because
Yeah.
we've never had a woman cinematographer win at the Oscars. Arkapaw is the first woman of color nominated. So the narrative behind a win for her has been pretty strong. Um, but I don't know. I I'm going with One Battle.
Hmm. I am too. And kind of sad about it because I'd love to see Autumn draw Dark Poem. And I also think it's amazing work, as
Mm-hmm.
is Michael Bauman's work. But I think Sinners is it's a worthy win. But I think One Battle is going to take this one. All right, now we have the screenplays, which are surprisingly easy for me.
These
Adapted.
these have been easy since for like 6 months. More than that.
True,
More than
but
that.
I'll run through them anyway. Adapted screenplay: Will Tracy for Begonia, Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein, Chloe Zhao and Maggie O'Farrell for Hamnet, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, and Clint Bentley and Greg Quadar for Train Dreams. It's Paul Thomas Anderson's. That's it.
Yeah. He made the first sweep of every possible precursor for adapted screenplay since The Social Network. Even if there was some crazy situation where One Battle was going to lose pretty much all of its Oscars, this is the one that would not budge.
This is it.
Yep.
And for those that haven't heard us talk about it before, Paul Thomas Anderson has, of course, 14 nominations and never won, which is a
Mm-hmm.
scandal.
Mm-hmm.
But this could be the first, or will be,
Yeah.
most likely.
Oh yeah.
Uh, all right, original screenplay: Robert Kaploff for Blue Moon, Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident, Ronald Bronstein, Josh Safdie, Marty Supreme, Eskil Vogt, and Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value, and Ryan Coogler for Sinners. And this is the one that goes to Coogler.
Yeah, this is also so easy, so easy. And months and months and months and months ago. Because I mean, I have generally not been of the belief that Sinners is winning Best Picture, Director, like anything like that. And that this would be its main above the line win. We might see things a little differently now, but I mean, this was me like 6 months ago. And so this is just a category that's never changed really for me as well.
Um, I'm with you. I have to say, Coogler has given such beautiful interviews and made such incredible speeches. It's been a joy to follow him throughout this award season, and I think that that possibly has also been a boost, a very genuine boost.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't feel very genuine on on the awards season route, but this really, he really has, I have to say.
He's such a very shy and reserved person too, but once he gets started talking about movies and just getting like really into it, it's he's kind of unstoppable and he's great to listen to. It's like, Guillermo del Toro is, or people that are such deep, deep fans first before filmmakers even, and it's fed into their entire process. So it's I love listening to him talk about movie making.
Just 100% true passion. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is. All right, we're going to get into some categories that are going to need some discussion, more and more difficult to talk about or to predict. Let's start with Best Director. Chloe Zhao, Hamnet; Josh Safdie, Marty Supreme; Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another; Joachim Trier, Sentimental Value; and Ryan Coogler, Sinners.
I mean, again, barring some absolute craziness, this would be the second strongest category for Paul Thomas Anderson after adapted screenplay. Even there were many people that were entertaining a split in the top two categories, but that split always and every single time had Paul Thomas Anderson still winning director. That would be it would be insane
So
and
Sinners Best Picture, and
unprecedented.
and
Yeah,
he
like
would
if
be,
you were
that's
going to
that's
call
the
a
split.
split,
Hmm.
that's how it would be. But it would be unprecedented.
So you're going with PTA.
Absolutely.
I am too, but it feels like the past few weeks has been more and more discussion
Well, because what happens in long seasons, especially, is that people get antsy and they kind of need to poke the bear a little bit and even entertain races that are not real races. And, you know, if that's what they got to do, then go ahead.
All right, here's one that's really difficult, Eric, and that's Best Supporting Actress. Elle Fanning, Inga Ibsdotter Lilias, Amy Madigan, Wunmi Musako, Tiana Taylor. I'd say that the Sentimental Value girls, happy to be nominated and great, but the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
three, they've just won three separate things or many separate things. I just don't know. I'm stumped on this one.
That's so funny because in my write up, right in the middle of it, it says, as far as the sentimental value gals go, sorry, I have nothing for you, but it's an honor to be nominated. That, yeah,
It's
that's
funny because at a certain point, one was kind of thinking, I mean, a couple months ago, wow, Inga, maybe,
mm-hmm.
who knows, right?
Oh, people were predicting her to win BAFTA.
Hmm.
This
But
is
that went
yeah,
to Wound
yes, it did. Yes, it did. This is quite the category because it really could go any of three ways to the women that have won something already. Tayana Taylor won the Golden Globe. Amy Madigan won Critics' Choice. Wumi Masako won BAFTA. Then Amy Madigan came back with SAG. There's a lot of ways you can read into each of those wins that doesn't invalidate it or invalidate the other wins, but it just makes it so hard. The things that Amy Madigan has to overcome to win are enormous compared to Taylor and Musako just by virtue of how strong their films are. It's that
Amy's the
weapons did
sole nominee. Yeah.
yeah, that weapons didn't make it into hair and makeup, which it probably could have won. Um, it was clearly very close in both screenplay and best picture with its PGA and WGA nominations. So it's very close. But that sole nomination is a big hill to climb. But
Eric, how many times has a sole nominee for a movie in an actor, I mean, one?
oh gosh, I have it. I have it. Oh, I know I had it. Oh my God. Okay, so the last time was Penelope Cruz for Vicky Cristina Barcelona. Um, but it's not that common.
Mm.
It's I think it's 8 times that it's happened ever. But once you go backwards from Penelope Cruz, it's a really long time. And a lot of ways you can read into the SAG win are that the Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA do like rewarding veterans that they've never been able to reward before, but that doesn't necessarily translate into an Oscar win, like Lauren Bacall or Ruby Dee or Gloria Stewart. There are a lot of examples, and interestingly enough, in this category is the place to do it. Um, so I am still predicting Madigan, but it is really by like a single hair around a single twig.
Yeah, I have a few different Wound Me. This is what I'm thinking is amazing in Sinners. I have a feeling that BAFTA was sort of a national. I mean, she's a Brit. It was a home, maybe something
Yeah.
that was more for that in that sense. Amy Madigan, Tiana Taylor is fantastic, but she's opens the movie and then she kind of disappears. Amy Madigan closes the movie with Aunt Gladys, and then
Yes.
you have her, you remember her. Also, the fact that Aunt Gladys is just the most iconic character, probably in the many latest years of horror, particularly, but maybe even in this bunch. So I'm also going
Yeah.
with Amy Madigan, but I think this is the one of the most difficult ones to predict. It's going to be
It
so
it
exciting.
it really is. It is going to be exciting. And like we mentioned before, one of the supporting categories will be the first category. Um, so
So what will that tell you? If it's Amy Madigan,
if it's Amy
it says
Madigan, then I
nothing about
then oh no, if it's Amy Madigan, then it's a pretty that I feel very strong about one battle
one battle.
winning.
Mhm.
If it's Teyana Taylor, obviously
Yeah.
that's that. If it's Wumi Masako, then we have something really interesting set up, which maybe we'll talk a little bit in Best Actor, and that's how combinations of acting wins happen, and where they line up, because one of the combinations that's happened the least is Best Actor and Supporting Actress. But you can have actor, supporting actor, actor, actress, dual supporting, all of these combinations. Obviously, dual leads is the least common because it's
Hmm.
happened 3 times. But yeah, I hope it's first because I kind of want to. I want to know what
Yes.
the stage is set like. Um, yeah, but it's one of those three. It's gonna be really interesting to see where it goes.
And Amy also had a great speech at SAG, which was
Fantastic.
right in the voting. So that could help. Let's do supporting actor. Also really difficult and also made
Yeah.
a bunch of moves these past few weeks, so to speak. Benicio del Toro, One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi, Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo for Sinners, Sean Penn, One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård in Sentimental Value.
Yeah. This is I think this is going to be Sean Penn's third Oscar. I
Hmm.
really do. Um Weird when I did my predictions, which were kind of early. I mean, not early. They were 5 days ago. I guess that's not that early. Um I have Jacob Elordi second and Stellan Skarsgård third. I think I would flip that now. I think.
What
But
about Delroy?
I don't, not for a second do I see that or believe it. And if I have to, eat my words in 7 days, 6 days, that's fine. I don't buy it for a second.
And Stellan was also around Golden Globes where he won. It was just felt like a sure thing.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of weird that um that the Globe winners have not been able to repeat since then. Skarsgård should have and could have easily won BAFTA. Um, if with One Battle Strength, Teyana Taylor could have won. Um, there's it's the thing that's kind of like so fun about this season is the lack of correlation that we're seeing and the lack of continuity. I love it. It's fantastic. Everybody complains when it's too easy to predict, and then they get upset when it's too hard to predict.
No,
It's
this
like a
is the
struggle.
fun part. Yeah.
This is fun from this perspective. It's absolutely fun. But
But
yeah,
what
I do
about the
think
fact
Sean
that
Penn
Sean Penn doesn't campaign, doesn't
doesn't
get his
matter.
doesn't
Nope,
matter. Why
doesn't
doesn't it
matter
matter
one
for
bit.
him?
Because not everything is equal or the same, and that's kind of one of the things that we as predictors kind of trap ourselves into, and that is that everything and every person is not an apples to apples comparison. Uh, the idea of Sean Penn as a three-time Oscar winner for somebody of his staggering reputation as an actor makes perfect sense. He was my our generation's like top
Oh,
actor
absolutely.
that everybody after him like followed. He was the absolute Brando of the 80s and 90s. So the respect for him as an actor is going to completely supplant anything somebody might feel about him personally.
Will he be there?
I think. Um, I think he might be. Yeah, it
I
was
think
funny
so
that he
too.
went to the Golden Globes and Critics' Choice, and then he's like, no
Yeah.
SAG and no BAFTA.
He had a smoke and then he was fine.
Like literally the ones that he won.
Yeah.
So funny.
I think I'll be, but I have to ask before we leave this quickly, people still have Jacob Elordi so high up.
Yeah, I
Why?
should.
I
Like
mean,
I
he
said,
has
I should bump him down. I think I he won Critics' Choice again, something he has not been able to replicate since
no.
that
So why is he
early
still,
win. I think it's just the connection with the makeup category.
yeah, because that's a strong
It
indicator.
is. It's not going to be like solid every time, but I think it I don't think like anyone has him winning, but I think having him high because of that connection makes sense.
All right, the one actress category of which is easy to predict. Best actress, Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Rose Byrne, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson, Song Sung Blue, Renate Reinsve in Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone, Begonia. I mean,
Yeah.
Jessie's just
The only sweeper
here's your
of the season. The only one, which is fantastic. I love it. I could
How
not
did
be
you
happier.
Eric, as a cat lover, though? How did these latest comments make you feel?
That whole thing was so weird because that interview was in from November with Josh Horowitz. And it's largely a joke. I talked to both of them about it. It's it's one of those things where idle hands are making people just lose their goddamn minds.
We
But,
have to have, they want to
I'm
make a race here.
yes, exactly. I mean, people were like legitimately saying, wow, could this I just don't even want to give it any more air than that because it was so silly. But yeah, I mean, I am a cat person. So if you don't like cats like in your real life, I don't know. I
I
don't know if
don't
we can
know.
be like real friends.
Anyway, I'm so happy for she does incredible performance, well worth it. I
Yes.
don't think there's I mean, Emma Stone, of course, she's pretty, what does she have? Eight? Seven or eight?
7.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah,
But she won't win this time.
she will not.
All right, another exciting one here. Best actor. Timmy Chalamet, Marty Supreme, Leo DiCaprio, One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke, Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan in Sinners, and Wagner Moura in The Secret Agent.
Okay, this is I have not done my final predictions in best actor yet because it's really giving me uh, so much agony. um uh, mm, this is really hard. This is really hard. um I think where I will probably end up uh is Michael B. Jordan because Chalamet's whole everything is just completely imploded.
What? Let's take a minute with on Timmy here. What the hell happened with this campaign?
He he did this really weird thing where he split his campaign for Marty Supreme into two very distinct things. And the press and promo for the film for its release was very much his high school rapper loving white kid uh kind of mode, absolutely just being ridiculous. And then it came time, and this is a very short crossover period because this is a Christmas release. But once we got to the beginning of award season, which was the first week of January, everything changed. His clothes became like monochrome and pretty simple, uh, very reserved speeches, and finally acknowledging Kylie Jenner, although not by name still. And a definitely clear effort to do a more traditional uh, awards run, which was just an absolute 180 from the promotion tour of the movie. But I just, I think there is such a weird thing that happens with campaigning where, like, we were just talking about Sean Penn and doing a lack of campaigning. He campaigned a lot for the release of the film, lots of Q&As, all of that participation was there for the release of the film. Anything like since nominations, really just kind of
No.
nothing at all. Um, and very much a, let the work speak for itself kind of person, which I think does get a lot of respect from some people. He's also, like, a two-time winner and in his 60s. Um, Chalamet just turned 30. He is still very young. He was not able to replicate his SAG win from last year to a second one and make history there. And there is just this, I don't know, this DiCaprio-esque still comparison and sense of making him wait. There's, I don't know. It's I do think he definitely could have, maybe, I don't know, maybe not been more reserved, but I know the obviously the ballet opera interview with McConaughey, which again was also something that happened before voting, but really kind of just exploded the day after voting. Um, it's on on the surface sounded like a very immature comment. Um, Not so much really kind of when taken into a slightly larger context.
Right.
Um, and and just about how and what we decide is worth saving in terms of art. Um, but and I don't know, something just kind of turned off for him.
But people still have him. Lots of people still have him in the running. I mean,
I mean, sure, sure. It's a
he's an incredible actor. I mean, that you can't
it's
take that
so
away from
hard
him.
because it's such a it's such a star driven vehicle. He has the most screen time of any person in his category. Um, but for all of its 9 nominations, he wasn't able to bring anyone along with him. Not Paltrow,
Nope, not.
not uh it's nobody kind of was able to come along with him the way that Michael B. Jordan and Leonardo DiCaprio have supporting performances to help buoy their own chances.
And what about just The surprise of the evening, if Ethan Hawke. Incredible performance, beloved. No, you don't see it.
No. If he was going to win, and it does have at least the screenplay nomination, um, that would be a veteran win, which is fine. But when we look at when that happens, um, unless you are like a Paul Newman, you need to have other, not just other nominations, but like other wins, or at least very top tier. Al Pacino was still in a Best Picture, Best Director nominee. Um, Jeff Bridges was not in a Best Picture nominee, but it won another Oscar and brought a surprise supporting nomination for Maggie Gyllenhaal. That's not here for
Mm-hmm.
Hawk. And he really should have been able to win something on the way here. He's not going to just suddenly win after bringing nothing to the table awards wise.
So it's Michael B. Jordan who gave a fantastic speech last
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, and
Absolutely.
the excitement was palpable. I mean, you could really feel it through the screen.
Definitely. And SAG-AFTRA is a, extremely large body of 160,000 people in a wider net of mediums than the Academy. Michael B. Jordan had a substantial television career before his film career. So he has the support of film and television actors and working with lots of people over the last 20 plus years.
Does that mean that we have the SAG winners as our four?
I am predicting the
Mhm.
SAG 4,
The SAG
which
four? Mm,
which happens plenty of times.
yep.
It's not rare at all. Um, but I mean, what's kind of difficult is for someone to only have SAG and then win. That's a lot less common. I mean, and mm, yeah,
Which is Michael B. Jordan, for example.
which would be Michael B.
Mm.
Jordan. Yeah.
So exciting. Okay, so what does this mean for Best Picture? Because we're talking about two movies here, one battle after
Yes.
another and Sinners.
Yeah.
Um, what does all this mean?
It's it means that even though I think I know how it's going to go, I think there are avenues that can make things make sense. I mean, if I think Michael B. Jordan is winning, the connection of a lead performance with Best Picture is pretty strong right now. Because we didn't even mention like DiCaprio in
Hmm.
the Best Actor conversation. Another person who has not won anything leading up uh to this. So him winning, which I have seen people float this idea around that he will suddenly win after nothing at all because one battle's winning, and they're really like getting stuck and mired down by needing to kind of like put together a lead win in Best Picture. Um, yeah, there are avenues for kind of both things to happen, but we exist in a uh, academy that is extremely international now by ahead of numbers that it wasn't at 5 years ago. And Sinners has not been able to prove itself internationally the same way that One Battle has, that has crossed over the the collection that One Battle has is so unprecedented, yet at the same time, the the things that Sinners has collected between SAG, ACE, and WGA also exist in a world where no film has won those three and then lost Best Picture. So we have two movies that are both in the position of, in the past, neither has ever lost when going into the night. So someone's going to lose and somebody's going to set a precedent that has not happened before. Uh, and I absolutely understand the the sinner's love, and I do think that SAG gave an emotional boost to a lot of people. Um, I don't know. I don't know what it would mean though for somebody that had not decided before of what their ranking was going to be, and then suddenly in the middle of voting, you have PGA one night going to One Battle, you have SAG the very next night going to Sinners, and having those sort of be like defining factors. Most voters don't really do that.
No.
They don't really look at, um do am I going to, go with the flow essentially, or am I going to disrupt it? Because a choice like that isn't made as an individual, it's made because a lot of people are making this choice. And I mean, one of the silly things I have found about, again, these anonymous ballots is that people are listing like their number one film. That's meaningless because it's a ranked choice.
Hmm.
So I don't really care what your number one is. I want to know what your two, three, and four are, because that's where it's going to really matter. Once you hit that threshold, it's your number twos and threes that are going
Those
to
are the ones,
decide, yeah. And how many people are ranking Sinners at one, and how many people are ranking it in four and five and six versus One Battle? Is that number one going to be just hitting that threshold really quickly, or is it going to be number two and number three? It's That is not something I know. It's not something that I can properly predict because there's 10,000 voters. Uh, so I have to go with what's where we are going into that night, into Sunday night. Uh, and if the talk and the passion are coming from inside the house or from real voices, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm 100% it's going to be One Battle.
Yeah.
I don't I mean I'm super happy for Sinners wins, love Sinners, but One Battle After Another, I think just incredible defining movie of the year. Also just statistically has won everything.
Yep.
And so that's where I am on that discussion. Just for form's sake, I'm going to read the best picture because I only said those
Oh
two,
yeah,
but
we didn't
there's
do that.
Begonia, F1, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. Um, I think this is such an exciting. I'm really happy for the fact that we don't really know all the categories. I remember the past few years we've done this exercise that we always do and is lovely, and it just felt like yeah, this and this and this, and then maybe one surprise.
Yeah.
But if there was one surprise on Sunday, Eric, what would be your favorite? What would you love to see, just from a personal point of view?
Oh, that I would want to happen.
Yes, yes, just
I mean, obviously anything Hamnet is going to be great, but we've got Jesse Buckley locked in. Um, so if I kind of go, mm, if I go outside of that, oh, there's going to be so many surprises, though.
yeah. I think there are.
honestly, honestly, Diane Warren winning would be
That'd be so much
one.
fun.
It would be wonderful.
It would,
I feel
and you
I feel
kind
like
of
she
feel.
would retire.
Oh, I don't think so.
No, I know
She'd
that.
be back again. She'd be back
That would
again.
I think that would genuinely
I
be
agree.
the surprise that I would love to see.
That and I want Sean Penn to be there.
Oh, I definitely do too. I hope he's smoking in the front row like he
Yeah.
did at the Golden Globes.
Love. Eric, I can't wait. I can't wait to talk to you after to see how everything's going. And then in just a few weeks, we start a new year. So I hope you get some rest between then and the next festival we're going to. Thank you so much for spending time with me and doing predictions.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tell everyone where they can read your things. And you have predictions coming up on Awardswatch, of course.
Yes, at awardswatch.com, I am nearing the end of my predictions. So as of this recording, Best Actor, Director, and Picture uh, have not gone up yet. Everything else has, but I don't think it's going to be different than the conversation that we've had here. Um, Actor may be the only thing I might be playing around with, like rankings, but yeah, that's everything is up and running, and yeah.
And you can, of course, follow Pop Culture Confidential and me on X and Instagram, Christina Biro, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.